This is TomoNews for Friday, September 15th. Third world parasite on the rise in U.S. South. It may be a disease that is typically associated with developing nations, but a new study has found that parasitic hookworms are plaguing the southern U.S. 34.5% of stool samples taken from Alabama's LOWNDES County tested positive for a species of hookworm called Necator americanus. Households in the county are reportedly poor and lack basic sanitation, with waste often discarded in the backyard. Residents exposed to the raw sewage may become infected with hookworm, which enters the human body through the feet. The parasitic worm attaches itself to the walls of the small intestine, sucking the host's blood, which in turn causes anemia, weight loss, impaired mental function, and stunted growth in children. The disease is a problem even for those who can afford to install their own septic tanks. Sewage problems run rampant in Alabama's Black Belt region. The area's loamy soil prevents water from draining into the ground, and heavy rains often cause septic systems to overflow or back up. Parasitic infections like hookworm are treatable with medication, but unless sanitation conditions improve, people will simply become reinfected with the disease. Sitting is the new smoking. Health experts have long warned against the perils of sitting all day, but a new study suggests the length of time spent inactive in between bouts of movement also matters. Hip-mounted accelerometers measured physical inactivity in nearly 8,000 Americans aged 45 years and older, and found that they were sedentary for 12.3 hours out of a 16-hour waking day. When measuring bout length, it was discovered that subjects who sat for longer periods at a time were more likely to have died at the end of the study period than those with shorter sitting spells. Findings indicate that moving around for every 30 consecutive minutes of inactivity may significantly decrease the risk for death. The study did not explain how sitting increases early death, but experts suggest inactivity exposes the body to higher blood glucose levels, which leads to problems like diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. Prolonged sitting may also weaken the abdominal muscles, hip flexors, and glutes. It could also lead to a lack of circulation in the legs, potentially resulting in blood clots forming in the veins, a condition known as deep vein thrombosis. Alas, working out after a long day of sitting in an office chair may not necessarily undo all its ill effects. The best way to lengthen your lifespan, it seems, is to move about as often as you can. Anything for Snoopy! A dog owner in London is willing to give everything she owns just to save her beloved pet yorkie-chi Snoopy. Dolly Ann Osterloh met Snoopy 9 years ago when she rescued him from a kill shelter in New Jersey. The poor pup had been abandoned by a family after Christmas and was found in a trash bin. Since his rescue, the pair have been inseparable. But during a vet checkup to assess Snoopy's breathing difficulties, he was diagnosed with mitral valve disease and given only a few more months to live. Poor little fella has to take medication 11 times a day to help with this condition and can only be saved if he undergoes surgery. Osterloh had chanced upon a pioneering treatment by a team of Japanese and French surgeons in Paris that could reportedly restore Snoopy back to health. Problem is, the surgery costs an eye-watering £37,000 and needs to be paid in cash. And even with her savings, a bank loan, and donations, Osterloh still came up short. To make up the rest of the money, the 32-year-old former actress opened her London apartment for 24 hours and put all her belongings up for sale. Thankfully, the tactic worked. Osterloh now has the money to pay for her precious pet surgery and may even have extra from her GoFundMe page. Seems Snoopy is set for his September 19th surgery in Paris. Get well soon, buddy! All aboard! Ever wanted to drop 10 large on a train trip through rural Japan? Well, aren't you in luck? The Shiki-Shima Train debuted in Japan in May of this year. The service, operated by East Japanese Railway Company, chauffeurs passengers around northeastern Japan on up to almost 1,300-kilometer round trips. The train departs Tokyo's Ueno station, and guests sleep on board overnight. The Shiki-Shima travels at 110 kilometers per hour, 3 times slower than the Shinkansen, Japan's famous bullet train. The 10-carriage train includes 5 standard suite cars, 1 car for a deluxe suite, and the Shiki-Shima suite, plus 2 observatory cars for viewing and 2 cars for lounging and dining. Observatory cars allow passengers to take in panoramic views of the Japanese countryside. The train can accommodate 34 passengers in its 17 suites. The Shiki-Shima's dining and lounge cars also allow guests to view the scenery outside. The train's appearance and interior decoration was designed by Ken Okuyama. Although it comes with a hefty price tag, the train service is already booked through April of next year. Height could determine risk of getting blood clots. New research shows taller folks might be at higher risk of suffering a blood clot. A Swedish study investigated multi-generational data from over 2.5 million siblings of varying heights. Women shorter than 155 centimeters, or 5 feet 1 inch, were at lower risk of suffering a blood clot, as were men shorter than 160 centimeters, or 5 foot 2 inches. Women taller than 185 centimeters, or 6 feet 1 inch, and men taller than 190 centimeters, or 6 feet 2 inches, were at a higher risk. Deadly blood clotting usually occurs in the lower half of the body, but can also take place in the brain and lungs. The lead researcher of the study suggests that height should be included in risk assessment for blood clots, just as other factors such as weight. However, exactly how height and blood clots are correlated remains unknown.